Nisi. I know it's been a while, but I'm back today with Marie B of Do the Right Vintage. If you guys follow the blog, you definitely see me in a few of her pieces, so I'm glad to have her here with me today. So tell us about yourself and your brand, Do the Right Vintage.
Well, I started off as a freelance makeup artist. I was doing a lot of photo shoots, like editorial shoots, music videos.
That's why your face always looks so deep.
Yeah. Yeah, so I pretty much learned, the background of, creative direction and coordinating photo shoots. And I always had a taste for fashion, but I wanted to do wardrobe styling, but I didn't really think it was my thing. I thought maybe I should just stick to, makeup artistry. But like over the years, I was always collecting vintage clothes. And I didn't know why, but I just did it.
Right.
And it got to be 10 years later, I had too much stuff. And I said, hey, how about I should start selling my stuff online? I didn't know how to do it because when I thought of it back then, there was no Instagram, there was no Etsy.
Okay.
I think we just left MySpace,
Wow.
So, I mean, maybe there was Twitter. We were still trying to learn how to do Twitter, but we didn't have all this social media.
Right.
So, I was at a job and it was just kind of like a toxic environment and I just wasn't feeling it. But it was always in my head, you have to start your own online vintage store.
Right.
Start it. You do wardrobe styling now. You collect vintage clothes. Just do it. And I got to the point one day, I was like, forget it. I'm not coming back here no more. I was over it. And I started my own store. I stepped out on faith.
Wow.
And I started my own online store. And it's been the best thing I have ever done. I get to wardrobe style, like all my shoots. So everything you see on my website, the creative photo shoots, is all my styling, and that's how I started doing right vintage.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I always love what you offer in terms of like the products and the pieces that you have, because it's like things that are genuinely from our history. Like when you think about Black culture and hip hop, like that's the vintage that we want to see.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to come by. Like you can't really find pieces like
Yeah.
that. So, and you mentioned a couple things already, like starting out with being a makeup artist, learning a lot about creative direction and how you're very hands-on with everything that you do in your business. So what do you feel like, kind of sets you apart from other companies that do similar things to what you do?
Well, I think what sets me apart is I'm more geared to, like you said, the hip hop community, because I'm so blessed that I did grow up in the era that I watched hip hop grow to what it is now. And I was so like inspired and so like into watching Video Soul, and MTV Raps.
People today.
Yeah,
they
don't even know what I'm talking about. Like Martin, Pam, and Gina. Like
right.
I loved how they dressed. Like just old 90s movies, like from John Singleton, Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, Poetic Justice.
Yeah.
Like I can go on, but it's so much like inspiration and like real street style from the 90s that's just my niche right there. And that's my gear, that's my inspiration, and that's what I love. And like you said, it's kind of hard to find those things now. It's very hard, so I like to collect rare pieces from that era.
Right.
I mean, I have other stuff from like the 70s and 80s, but like the 90s street style, that's me right there.
Right. And it was such a huge influence then, and even now, like you're
Yeah.
starting to see more of it come back in mainstream. Like if you go into a Forever 21 or H&M, you're like, wait a minute, I wore that in elementary school.
Yeah, exactly. In 95.
So, right, exactly. So, I mean, just now that you look back on everything that you've done, you said in the beginning you didn't even know how to get started.
No idea.
So, what do you think was the recipe for success?
Research.
Okay.
Research. Knowing your niche, your brand, networking. Networking is so important because you never know who you might meet and who can take you here or there.
Right.
And like for everybody else, don't ever look down on anybody. Like even if they're up and coming, still, it's great to network and work with other people. It's so good. Also supporting other brands. I think that's very important. When you support other brands will support you. Especially right now, it's so many female entrepreneurs out here, and I love to see like Black females that are entrepreneurs and they're doing their thing, and then like we're all working together. It's like an empowerment, and that's a big deal. So I think with that, networking and just being humble, it can take you far.
Right. So do you still do some of the styling in addition to collecting pieces
Yeah,
and selling?
yeah. I still do the styling for like private clients, and I do sell the pieces online, of
Okay.
course. So yeah, I mix and mingle
Yeah.
a
So
lot.
that helps with the
Mhm.
networking too, because you're in different parts of the industry, so you get to kind of showcase your brand and represent your
Mhm.
brand in all those
Exactly.
different areas. So
Yes.
that's good. So what's coming up next for you and Do the Right Vintage?
Well, I have been networking with a group of girls from other cities, from Brooklyn and Delaware, and we are planning some events,
Okay.
some
Which
bus
I
trips. Yeah. We're planning some bus trips to New York with the Thrift Mob. They're really cool. They're from Delaware. Um, so we're gonna try to do something like in a month or so.
Okay.
I've been talking to another vintage dealer, Helena from Vintage Steves. We've been planning to do pop-up shops in the DC area too
Yay.
with
I love
other
that.
vendors. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think there's so many dope vintage vendors out here.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be really, really cool. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully, if everything works out, which I know it will, we're gonna start doing like more events and try to get more people to come
Yeah.
out and participate.
I would love to see that because it's just like you said, when you go to pop-up shops, you do see like these individual vintage brands or consignment brands. So I mean, there's a huge following for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a whole lifestyle behind it. So if you
Mhm.
guys can come together,
Yeah.
imagine what that would be like for someone that's like really into vintage. Like, that would be a
Exactly,
dream.
yeah,
Go into
yeah.
one room and
Yeah.
everybody's all there together. So that's exciting for you guys to be able to put something like that.
Yeah, so
together.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the outcome
Yeah.
and just meet new people. I want to see people, like all the fashionistas, come out. Like DC has a really big fashion scene.
Mhm.
A lot of people sleep on DC, but if you go to the right places, there's some really good people out here, like talented, creative people in this area.
Yeah.
And DC's gonna take over soon. It's
Right.
gonna take
Yeah.
over. Like, we might not be like a huge, huge city, but we're coming.
Right.
We're coming. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always love your pieces. Just like I said before, I always try to incorporate them into some of my looks on the blog. So
Yeah.
tell me, of all the things that you have, personally or things that you've collected, what's your favorite thing hanging on your hanger now?
Vintage Gucci.
Okay.
I love vintage Gucci. Like, I had so many vintage Gucci bags from like the 80s and
Yeah.
90s. I think I was inspired because I had an older cousin, her name was Eva, and that's all she had. And I didn't know what it was, but I just thought
Right.
she was just so cool and dope, and like she could dress real cool. Like, I even want to go in her closet now if she'll let me. But like vintage Gucci, when I come across that, it's not a game. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm really into. That's my favorite.
So can we find any vintage Gucci in your collection?
Yes, you will. I'm gonna start putting some stuff out for the winter,
Okay.
for winter and fall. So we'll have some.
So where
pieces
can
out.
everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Do the Right Vintage, and you can check me out at dotherightvintage.com. If you subscribe to my email newsletters, you'll find out about other pop-up shops and events going on in DC area, New York, whatever. I'm gonna let you know, and you'll be so happy.
So happy because she's everywhere. All right, so check her out, just like she said, on Instagram and also on the website. Make sure you subscribe to the website, to her newsletter, her email, and then also subscribe to Hanging on My Hanger. And we'll see you soon. Check us out.